Hello, I'm Adam Barralet and welcome to this Earth Connections video. We're exploring the essential oil of petitgrain, an oil that is given to us by one of the most generous trees on the planet when it comes to the essential oil world. Not only does it give us petitgrain essential oil, but also from the fruit of this bitter orange tree, it gives us bitter orange essential oil. Plus from its blossoms, it gives us Neroli essential oil. Now petitgrain originally came from the little unripe fruit, and that's why the name comes from the French word petit, small, grain or seed, so small seed. But obviously when we're using just this fruits, that would stop the yield of the bitter orange fruit. And so what happens is we actually now use the twigs and the leaves. And it gives us this really earthy, grounding, citrusy kind of essential oil, which is absolutely amazing. Now originally petitgrain was used mainly in perfumery and was a popular ingredient in eau-de-cologne. But over the last few decades, aromatherapists have really started to find all the positive attributes and how this can be used for our physical, our emotional, our mental and our spiritual well-being. And so it's risen in popularity since then. Now, as I mentioned, petitgrain is originally and normally comes from the bitter orange tree, but it can also be made from tangerine, mandarin, lemon, lime and bergamot twigs and leaves as well. And that just kind of changes the aroma and the properties just marginally. But here we're going to look at the petitgrain, the main big player in the game, the one that comes from the bitter orange tree, and how you can use it each and every day. Sometimes I like to nickname petitgrain as lavender for men. It has a very similar chemical composition as lavender oil, but doesn't obviously have that floral smell. So if men or anyone in particular doesn't like that floral smell of lavender, but still wants the calming effects to help them fall asleep at night, then petitgrain would be an absolutely great choice. Not only is it calming to help us sleep, but it's calming on several parts of the body. It's really good for the nervous system, the digestive system, the cardiovascular system, and the respiratory system. And using that either topically or aromatically to help support those systems can be really beneficial as well. It's also really calming on the skin. It helps to bring out a bit clearer skin and also toned skin, and it's a great natural deodorant. It stops overperspiration. So if you tend to get a little bit sweaty or it's going to be a bit of a hot day, put a bit of petitgrain under the pits and that'll help to reduce the amount of sweating there. Just as it's calming for the body, it's also calming for the mind. Use petitgrain to help ground you and settle you. It's really good if you've been really worked up or if you've been caught in emotional drama. Diffusing or inhaling that beautiful petitgrain scent will help to ground you nice and sensibly. Now, the other thing that's great for is as we settle down and take out all that emotionality of what's upsetting us, it can really help with healing. It's great for actually working with family issues, especially if it's something that that's been upsetting you about the family for a long time. It'll help to calm you and stop you taking that on. Now, a lot of the time we also take on behaviors from our parents, maybe attitudes or something like that. If that tends to be the case, then petitgrain on a deeper level, on a meditative level, can help bring those to the surface and help us deal with them. It also helps with acceptance and trust. If maybe you've been betrayed in the past by a family member or a lover and you have problems opening up, then petitgrain again will help to settle and calm you and allow you to again open up your heart so you can feel more safe, secure in new relationships going forward. If you've been called to work with petitgrain essential oil, there may be some things that you need to work through, but you may not even be clear on what you're meant to be working through. A lot of the time it can be with abundance. Maybe you're one of these people that always starts these projects but they never work out for you. If things always fall in a heap eventually, then petitgrain essential oil could be great for you to work with. If you think about it, petitgrain essential oil is part of the citrus oils. And a lot of the fruit oils that we get, such as orange or lemon or bergamot, are to do with abundance. But because this is the tree, before we get the fruit, we must have the tree, the twigs, the leaves, and so on. This is about having a strong foundation. A lot of the time where these foundations to do with money come from is what we learn from our parents. Maybe your parents had attitudes about, oh, you don't make money unless you work really hard, or only rich, maybe there's negative connotations about being rich or being wealthy, and there's that guilt or not feeling worthy of having that much money and different things like that. Petitgrain, because of its calming effect, will allow you to have some time for some self-reflection and work out why maybe there's some self-sabotage or why you rush into things without having a clear foundation and doing the research to start off with. It's also very protective, and it can stop you from getting yourself into trouble. Inhale your petitgrain and see yourself surrounded in a protective bubble as you go out and take part in any new venture or project. Petitgrain essential oil is also really good for calming the mind and giving that time so you can meditate more. To do that in a reflection work, if you know that there's something not quite right and you just can't quite put your finger on it, then just take some time each day to sit with your petitgrain essential oil and see what comes up. The longer and the more you spend time with your petitgrain essential oil, the more wisdom that is accessible to you. And it has been linked to ancient civilizations such as Atlantis. So if you want to get a better knowing of yourself, you know the great secret of once you know yourself, you know the whole universe, then start working with petitgrain. Take time slowly, work out why things aren't going right for you, and allow it to unveil the magic so that you can be successful financially and in all forms of abundance throughout your life, because you will be clear on what's going right and what's going wrong. Petitgrain essential oil works really well with the base chakra. Now, of our 7 main chakras, it is the most practical and the most physical. It helps us when it's balanced to feel safe and secure, as does petitgrain. Petitgrain has that calming effect on our nerves, and so if we're feeling anxiety or stressed or unsafe, then working with petitgrain can help to ground us. It can also help us to feel nurtured, and so working with this can be really, really powerful in bringing balance into that space. Now, as I just spoke about, petitgrain essential oil also gives us the ability to create a strong foundation so that we can then create an abundant life. And so petitgrain essential oil is great for giving us a sense that we are capable of succeeding in life. Now, although our base chakra is primarily to do with very 101 primal survival, can we get food, can we get water, can we get shelter? How do we do that? By earning money in this modern world and by doing those different things. Do we feel that we're able to do that? Petitgrain essential oil can help nurture our way so that we can feel capable of having a job, earning money, and supplying and fulfilling the basic needs for ourselves and for our family or for our loved ones. You can also take advantage of petitgrain's great properties by blending it with other essential oils. If you need a nice calming blend, try mixing 5 drops of geranium, 3 drops of petitgrain, 1 drop of jasmine, and 1 drop of rose. If you need to focus the mind, try mixing your petitgrain essential oil, which is calming, with a mint, and this will really help if you're trying to study or if you need to concentrate on something, especially in stressful environments. Petitgrain essential oil also mixes nicely with other citrusy smelling oils. Consider mixing it with bergamot, neroli, or lemongrass. It's really nice to mix with different hot or spicy oils. Think of cinnamon or cassia. Our cardamom can make some really interesting blends, and that can be some really nice ones you might want to take into the bedroom. Plus, it makes some really unique blends if you try mixing it with stuff like eucalyptus or frankincense. Of course, you can make some base chakra blends. Blending it with anything that's nice and grounding, vetiver or cedarwood could also come up with a really interesting compilation that will help you to feel more grounded, safe and secure. When I'm working with any essential oil, including petitgrain essential oil, I take a real holistic point of view and bring in other things that have similar energies. I love working with crystals, and there's a couple of crystals that work really well with petitgrain essential oil. The first one is shungite, this kind of silvery metal looking crystal. It's really quite a powerful one. It's very healing. It helps to heal the body and bring it back to balance. And also on a spiritual level, it's very old, and so it helps us go back into our ancestry and define and heal any issues, and also to find wisdom from our ancestry as well. Because petitgrain has that link to helping us heal things that we may have inherited from our family, shungite works beautifully in unison with that as well. The other crystal that it works really well with is pyrite. Now pyrite is a golden crystal to do with abundance, and as I mentioned before, petitgrain helps us with issues of abundance. But it grows in these beautiful cubes, pyrite, and anything grows in a cube is about stabilizing and structure, and that's what we need to be successful, and petitgrain helps us with that as well. So if you're looking at healing the past or any issues to do with family or going back into the ancestry, then shungite is great to work with petitgrain. If you're looking at dealing with abundance issues and finding a bit more foundation and stability, then definitely work with pyrite. Now when it comes to animal guides, there are beautiful animals all around the world, just like here in Saguaro National Park, and each animal survives and even thrives in its environment. And we can look at these animals for how we can actually apply their lessons into our lives. Now, if we're working with, again, digging down and finding out some issues that we may not be aware of, and petitgrain helps to bring them up, then working with either pig or boar can be really good. You know, what do we use pigs and boars for? They sniff around and they can find things. You know, we use pigs and boars to find truffles and different things. They'll search around, and so if you need to do some digging and use your nose to get into things, then boar or pig can be a really good animal to connect with. Now, if you're doing a bit more kind of empowerment work, then the puma is a really beautiful animal to connect with. When we think of the puma, what do we think of? We think of that grace and regality, but also that real power as well. And petitgrain helps us to bring that. Being an apex predator, puma is very, very successful. But because it has that quiet, empowered nature, it really helps us to feel calm and to go out and come to a place from being empowered, I guess centered and calm. You know, when we think about a lot of the calming essential oils, they come from flowers like lavender or chamomile or bergamot as a fruit, but you've got this big tree in petitgrain, and so it has this unique grounding effect of being grounded, strong and empowered. Now, astrologically wise, I like to work with petitgrain with Ceres, the beautiful asteroid, because it's very nurturing, as is petitgrain. Ceres is also, the asteroid is named after the goddess, who is the goddess of abundance, of grain, of fertility. She brings all the greenery to the planet in spring and summer. And so her influence is really good and aligns really nicely with petitgrain. Ceres is often linked to the star sign Virgo. Now, Virgos are ruled by Mercury traditionally, but remember that petitgrain helps to calm the mind, but is also very nurturing as well to the body, as is the Virgo kind of traits. And so Virgo works really well. The best power day, because petitgrain teaches us to have a bit more structure and foundation in our life, I find that the best day is to work with petitgrain is on a Saturday, because it's ruled by Saturn, the day of structure. Now, have you worked with petitgrain essential oil? I love it, and I found an amazing certified therapeutic pure grade essential oil, which is actually safe to ingest as well as use aromatically and topically. If you'd like to know more about that, or be interested in even working with me and sharing these beautiful oils and these nature's gifts with other people around the world, I'd love to hear from you, and my details are just below in the comments section. If you've worked with petitgrain essential oil, maybe you've made an amazing blend that you have to share with the world. Leave that in the comments section as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'm Barralet. Blessed be.